Majority with elimination. So the first two methods we've looked at are pretty straightforward. You're either looking to get who gets the most, or you have to have at least half the votes. We don't worry about ranked ballots. If somebody says, I want this person first, but if I can't have that person, I want the next person in my list. There's none of that going on. However, now when we get into majority with elimination, we start to take into account ranking on ballots. So in voting under a majority with elimination method, people rank the options from favorite to least favorite. The option with more than half the votes is the winner. However, if no option receives more than half the votes, the option with the fewest choices is eliminated and their votes are reassigned to another candidate. In this process, step 1 is to determine the total number of votes. Step 2 is to divide the total number of votes by 2 in order to figure out what is the threshold that you have to have more than. So that gives you the half point. You need at least one more than that in order to have a majority. Step 3 is to determine the number of first place votes for each option. And step 4 is to determine a winner. The option with more than half the votes will be the winner. You'll repeat this process. Step 5 is that if there is no winner, the option with the fewest number of votes is eliminated and the votes are reassigned to the next option on the list. This step is repeated until an option has more than half the votes. It will always result in a winner at some point. So the advantages are that a winner is guaranteed and people's preferences for all options are included. The disadvantage is voting and counting the votes can be time-consuming depending on the number of options. Let's take a look at this example. A political party is holding elections to determine its new leader. There are 5 people nominated for the position. So those people are A, B, C, D, and E. Step 1, we need the total number of votes, and that's equal to 23 plus 56 plus 60 plus 20 plus 41. When we add those up, we end up with 200. Step 2 is to figure out what's the halfway point. So what is the minimum number of votes that you have to get over in order to be a winner? So that means 200 divided by 2, which is equal to 100. So you have to have greater than that to be a winner. Now step 3 is to count up the first place votes. So this is our first round, and we've got candidates A, B, C, D, and E. So candidate A gets a first place ranking from 23 people and from another 20 people. So candidate A is ranked first on 2 different types of ballots, and 20 people and 23 people gave A the first place ranking. So that means candidate A got 43 votes. Candidate B was ranked first on only 1 ballot, so there are 56 of those. Candidate C was ranked first on 60. Candidate D was ranked first on 41. And candidate E wasn't ranked first on any ballots. So step 4 is to look to see whether anybody had a majority. In order to have a majority, we have to have gotten greater than 100 votes. And looking at our numbers, none of the candidates have that. So no winner is declared, and we move on to step 5, which is to eliminate the candidate with the smallest number of votes. In this case, we eliminate E because they didn't get any first place votes. Now we move on to step 3 again for round 2. This time, however, we've only got A, B, C, and D in the running. A has 43 votes, B has 56, C has 60, and D has 41. Looking at these votes, we can see that there's still no clear winner. No candidate has a majority at this time. So now we're going to eliminate the next one that is smallest number of votes, which in this case is candidate D. Now this time, when we eliminate candidate D did have some first place voters. So those 41 voters now, their votes can no longer be attributed to candidate D because they're going to be eliminated in the next round. So this time, we're going to take candidate D, the votes that they received previously, and from that ballot it says that those 41 people, if they can't have D, they want to have B. So that means we need to take those 41 votes that were destined for D and give them to B in the next round. So let's see how that works out. So A still has 43 votes. B had 56, but now they've picked up 41 votes from candidate D, and they've now got 97. Candidate C still has 60 votes. So again, we stop and evaluate to see whether any of the candidates have more than 100 votes. We can see that none of them do. So again, there's no winner. And step 5 says we eliminate the one with the smallest number of votes. In this case, that's going to be this time candidate A. Now, candidate A was ranked number 1 on 2 different ballots. They were ranked number 1 here, and they were ranked number 1 here. What's key to notice, however, is that the second place votes were different on those 2 ballots. So what that means is we need then to take these 23 votes that voted for candidate A, and this time they're going to be reassigned to candidate B. And over here, the 20 votes that were destined for candidate A will get reassigned to candidate E. However, candidate E has already been eliminated. So that means those votes, those 20 votes, instead of going to A or E, will now go to C. So round 4, we've only got candidate B and C left in the running. Candidate B came in with 97 votes and candidate C had 60. But with the elimination of candidate A, they picked up the 23 votes from candidate A. So we've got 97 plus 23. Candidate C also benefited. They got 20 votes that came from here. So candidate C ended up with a total of 80 votes, and candidate B had a total of 120. Therefore, at the end of the voting, candidate B was the winner. Add this to your memory aid. Try the practice questions in the workbook and check your answers against the answer key.